Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Mangla. I'm working as an assistant professor for the BBA department of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. The subject that I'll be teaching today is e-commerce. This is our fifth lecture of e-commerce and we'll be starting with unit 1 today. So the topics which we'll be covering today are meaning of e-commerce, factors affecting e-commerce, advantages and disadvantages of e-commerce, and categories of e-commerce. So let's begin with the first one, that is the concept of e-commerce. See, if we talk about commerce, commerce is a division of trade or production which deals with the exchange of goods and services from producer to final consumer. When we are just exchanging the goods and services from a producer to a final consumer, that trade is referred to as commerce. Now when we talk about e-commerce, e-commerce is also known as electronic commerce or EC. In short we call it as EC. Electronic commerce, it involves the buying and selling of goods via electronic network. When the buying and selling, the trade is done through the electronic network, we call it e-commerce or electronic commerce. Let's see the definition. E-commerce or electronic commerce or EC is the buying and selling of goods and services or the transmitting of funds or data available or data over an electronic network, primarily the internet. Which sort of electronic network is there? Mainly we use the internet. Now not only this, electronic commerce alludes to all sort of commercial activities that are conducted online. All sort of commercial activities are included in it by way of electronic processing and data transmission comprising of text, graphics, audio, video, etc. So by any of such modes we can conduct the online activities, commercial activities. And not only this, e-commerce is a business model that equips the enterprise or individuals to carry out business through the electronic medium. So the main thing is that the whole business, the whole trade, the whole exchange of goods and services, it is done via an electronic medium. Alright. Now this electronic commerce or e-commerce, it draws on technologies, for example like mobile commerce, electronic fund transfer, internet marketing, online transaction processing, electronic data interchange, inventory management system. So all these technologies are drawn through e-commerce only. Now let's see some factors that affect e-commerce. Now there are mainly external environment factors that can affect e-commerce, and it is common for managers to assess each of the factors closely. And the main aim is mainly always to take better decisions for the firm's progress. So some of the common factors are political, economic, social and technological. In short, we can also call them PEST analysis, PEST, where P stands for political, E stands for economic, S stands for social and T stands for technological. Now when we talk about first one, political factors. Political factors includes the role of the government legislation, initiatives and funding to support the use of development of e-commerce and information technology. Now several aspects of government policies can affect the e-commerce business. All firms must follow the law. For example, if we talk about the current scenario, in the current scenario, as we are facing the lockdown due to COVID-19, so all the e-commerce activities have been stopped for a while. None of the websites can sell any of the products except the necessity goods online, isn't it? So there are some government policies, there are some government laws that has to be adhered to, which need to be followed by all the e-commerce sites also. Now managers must find how upcoming legislations can affect their activities, and all the managers must try to find out that if there is any new upcoming legislation, how can it affect the activities. So all these government legislations or initiatives, they all come under political factors which affect e-commerce. Second one is economic factor. Now it includes general wealth and commercial health of the nation. General wealth and commercial health and the elements that contribute to it, they all are a part of economic factors. Not only this, economic efficiency results in the reduction of communication cost, low cost technological infrastructure, speedier and more economic electronic transactions with suppliers, lower global information sharing and advertising cost, and cheaper customer service alternatives. So, if we are economically efficient, it can result into these kind of factors. And economic integration is either external or internal. It can be external also. External integration refers to the electronic networking of corporations or suppliers or customers. Then internal integration on the other hand is the networking of the various departments within a corporation. Inside a corporation only various departments when they are linked, that is internal integration. Alright. So these are all economic factors which involve the general wealth and commercial health of the nation. The next are social factors. Now, incorporating the level and advancement in IT education, as we incorporate the level and advancement in IT education and training, which will enable both potential buyers and workforce to understand and use the technology. As in when our IT gets advanced, as in when we get to know more about technology, as in when we get more tech savvy. So we can enable both buyers and the workforce to understand the use of technology, and rising standards of living and a burge ongoing, isn't it? Upwardly mobile middle class with high disposable incomes. Everybody is having high disposable income nowadays. Busy lifestyle, urban traffic congestion, and lack of time also for offline shopping, because see, everybody is busy in their day-to-day schedules, so going to offline shopping regularly is very difficult for everyone. So such kind of factors, it has given boost to e-commerce, that everybody can shop sitting at their home only, and we find it convenient also. And that is the reason why the evolution of websites like Flipkart, Snapdeal, eBay, that has become a huge marketplace where the sellers register themselves and they pay commission on every sale. So these are the social factors which can affect e-commerce. The last is technological factor. As I told you before also, the development of ICT is a key factor in the growth of e-commerce. This is the major factor due to which e-commerce has grown. It has made the communication more efficient, more faster, more easier and more economical. And as the need to set up separate networks for telephone services, television broadcast, cable television and internet access is eliminated. Separate networks are no more required. And due to technological advances, the economic transactions have become much easier and faster. Via doing online transaction, net banking, so we are able to do economic transactions also. So all these factors have boosted the development of e-commerce. So technological factor is a major factor which has led to the growth of e-commerce. So these are all the factors which affect. In short, we call them pest analysis. Then next we move on to the advantages or reasons of transacting online. Let's see the advantages of e-commerce. First one is global reach. See, this is the most important advantage. E-commerce, if there is a normal physical business you're running a normal shop, so can you reach globally? Maybe you can reach in your particular area, maybe you can reach in 2-3 more particular societies which are nearby your shop, or maybe till a particular region only, isn't it? Till a fixed point. You cannot reach even an entire city with a shop running in a particular location. But with e-commerce, we can have an access to global reach. You can sell to anyone, anywhere in this world via an online e-commerce business. So this is the most important advantage of e-commerce, that we are not limited to a particular geographical area or to particular nearby markets. We can expand our scope wider till global reaches. Then next one is always open. Now the physical business shops, can they be open 24/7? No. They have particular working hours, they have limited hours when they can be open, but the e-commerce shop remains open 24/7. For example, anytime you open a Flipkart, you open a Myntra, will they say that we are not selling, or will the website not work? No, it never happens. The website, the products are available 24/7 on the websites. So that means there are no specific working hours for e-commerce sites. They work 24/7, they work 365 days a year. And this is very convenient also for the customer, that as and when they get the opportunity, they can connect with the merchants. Then cost saving. Obviously e-commerce business have significantly lower operating cost, because if we are, if you open a shop, there are so many costs that you'll have to incur. For example, you'll have to pay the rent, you'll have to pay to the staff which you are hiring, you'll have to pay some fixed operating cost, you might have to pay the electricity bills, water bills, whatever are attached. So all these costs are saved in the e-commerce, because you don't have any physical existence, everything is going on online. So this makes e-commerce business extremely competitive on price, which can increase market share dramatically. Your cost saving is very much high, a lot of costs are saved in e-commerce business. Then automated inventory management. Now managing the inventory is also easier. There is, a lot of place is not required, you don't require storehouses to manage inventory, because you have the access to third party vendors who can help you in this. So it's far easier to automate inventory management through the use of electronic online tools and third party vendors, and this has been saving e-commerce businesses billions of dollars in inventory. A lot of cost is being saved in inventory and operating cost. So inventory management is becoming very sophisticated to effectively manage your stock effectively across multiple channels. We can manage our stocks across multiple channels via whom? Via the third party vendors. So this is a major advantage. Then laser targeted marketing. Now online merchants have the ability to collect an amazing amount of consumer data to ensure they are targeting the right people for their products. You can collect the consumer data and you can target the correct people who you find are fit enough for your products. Now this lowers the cost of customer acquisition, as you are targeting the correct people for your products. So the customer acquisition cost gets lowered and also allows online business to remain extremely agile. And not only this, the laser type targeted type marketing, which you can get with a physical store, that is available in the e-commerce business. So again, it's a benefit, it's an advantage of e-commerce. Then niche market dominance. Now because of the lower operating cost, because the operating cost is very low, as we studied in the above points, the ability to target exact type of customer as well as the benefit of global reach. If we have the benefit of global reach, we studied in the first point. So all that an e-commerce website brings, and this ensures that your company could be very profitable. Your company can be very profitable, then it will have a dominance also over in the market. So all these factors, they sum up to one major advantage, which is niche market dominance. And the last one is location independence. Obviously, see, an e-commerce business can be operated from any place, anywhere in the world. You don't need a specific location for it. So, and you are not even tied to a particular location to run the business. As long as you have a laptop, you have an internet connection, so you can run your business anywhere. So these are the major advantages of e-commerce. Now let's see some disadvantages of e-commerce. First one is security. Now this is a major drawback in the e-commerce business, because the issue of security is a major concern. People fear to provide personal and financial information, even though there are several improvements have been made in relation to data encryption. But there are certain websites who still do not have the capability to conduct authentic transactions, and fear of providing the credit card information and risk of identity still limits the growth of e-commerce. Still people have that fear. Many people have the fear of getting their identities leaked, or maybe just getting their personal information leaked, and that is the reason some people still do not prefer the e-commerce transactions. Then second point, as I told you, lack of privacy. Many websites now do not have high encryption for secure online transactions. The encryption is not very high, or to protect online identity, they don't have proper encryption done. And some websites, they illegally collect statistics on customers without their permission. So these are the reasons why there is a lack of privacy, and this lack of privacy discourages people to use internet for conducting commercial transactions. The next one is tax issue. Now sales tax is another bigger issue now. when the buyer and seller, they are situated in different locations, so obviously sales tax will be imposed, and computation of sales tax poses problems when the buyer and seller are in different states. And another factor is that the physical store, they will also lose their business if web purchases are free from tax. We cannot even do it free from tax, because if the purchases are free from tax, then everybody will purchase it online and the physical stores will lose their importance. Next one, fear. Now people fear to operate in a paperless and faceless electronic world. See, you are not communicating, there is no pen and paper communication, there is no face-to-face communication. So people have a fear to operate in such a electronic world. And some of the business organizations do not have physical existence. बहुत सारी ऐसी organizations हैं जिनकी physical existence बिल्कुल ही नहीं है. They are just running online. So people do not know with whom they are conducting commercial transaction. People even don't know. So this aspect makes people to opt physical stores for purchases. Then product suitability. People have to rely on electronic images to purchase products. See, we are not actually seeing the product live via our eyes. We are just seeing the image, and we have to rely on the images only. And sometimes the products are delivered, the products which are delivered to us, they do not match with the electronic images. And finally, it happens that we are not satisfied with the product, or it doesn't suits the need, our need, or the need of the buyer. So the lack of that touch and feel prevent the people from online shopping. That means basically, if you go for, if you are going to a market, you can see the product, you can touch it, you can get to know about the fabric, about the design, but that all those things of touch and feel is lacking in online transactions. Then last one is huge technological cost. Now it is difficult to merge electronic business with traditional business. Merging them is difficult, and technological infrastructure may be expensive, and huge cost has to be incurred to keep pace with ever-changing technology. A lot of cost is applied in this, and it is necessary to allocate more funds for technological advancement to remain competitive in the electronic world. It is very important that we have to allocate more and more funds so that we can get more advanced technologically, because that is the only reason how we can fight the cutthroat competition in the world. So all these are the disadvantages of e-commerce. Now let's see the categories of e-commerce. The traditional e-commerce business models, which are based on the constituents involved in the transaction, they are classified as under, which are given over here. The first one is business to business, which we also call as B2B. Now when the business transaction takes place between two business houses online, it is known as B2B e-commerce. Such transactions are accomplished with the help of electronic data interchange, EDI. For example, we have Alibaba.com. So there we have business to business. The seller is also a businessman, the receiver is also a businessman. So these are B2B transactions. Then second one is business to consumer, B2C. Now B2C is the most important business model that has enterprise on one end and consumers on the other. This is the most important one and the most used one. For example, we have Flipkart.com, we have Amazon.com, we have Snapdeal.com. All these are B2C models, where we have business on one end and on the other hand we have all the consumers. So these online shopping apps, they are all a part of B2C models. Alright. Then we have next one, C2B, consumer to business. This is just the opposite. Now the business model in which the value creation is performed by the consumer and the business being the other party to transaction consumes it. Here the value is being created by the consumer and the business is consuming it. They are consuming the transaction. So this is C2B, consumer to business. And in this e-commerce model, the reverse pricing model is used, where customer retains the price of the merchandise. Who is getting the price? Customer is getting the price of the merchandise. Then next one is C2C, customer to customer. Now in C2C model, the commercial transactions takes place between two consumers electronically, and basically it uses auction style model. One of the major example of this is OLX.com. We have seen on OLX.com, the people who are selling, they are actually the consumers only who are using the products, and they are selling their used products to other people who are also the customer. So it is basically customer to customer, where one customer who is already consuming the product is selling his product to another customer who is going to consume the same product. Then next one is business to administration, B2A. Now in this kind of e-commerce transaction, there are dealings between companies and public administration, and it encompasses different services like social security, fiscal measure, legal document, employment. So these all are a part of business to administration, where and at one end we have business, for example we have companies, and the other end we have public administration. And the last one is consumer to administration. Now in this e-commerce model, electronic transactions are carried between individuals and public administration. For example, we have distance learning, we have information sharing, electronic tax filing, where at one end we have the consumers and on the other hand we have the administration, public administration. So that is C2A model. These were all the categories of e-commerce models. Now let's see some questions based on the concepts which we have covered today. You can note down these questions, children. What is e-commerce and what is its concept? Describe some advantages and disadvantages of e-commerce. State the factors affecting e-commerce. How many types of e-commerce is there? Elaborate some categories of e-commerce. Stay tuned for the upcoming lectures of Unit 1. Thank you.